Good morning. Okay, so we have a couple of things going on. I'm just checking the Slim Down with Ease challenge. So we're up to almost 600 members, and we can probably expect, here's my guess, that we'd have 1,000 people on that page. What's great about that is two things. One is when people start using a loading dose of ease, the way that this is being run, they are going to have results. There's nothing better for Plexus and there's nothing better for your personal business than people having noticeable results, feeling better, and wanting to tell people about it and having other people notice it in them. That's my favorite. When you're like out and about and your friend's like, something seems different. Your face looks so much thinner or whatever. That's the best because that's literally Plexus advertising itself. Like you don't have to do it. So, number one, I want you guys to really be all in with getting yourselves and your team completely invested in doing the challenge and not necessarily even commenting on every post each day. I mean, literally taking the loading dose of ease. You'll need 2 bottles for this 21-day challenge. So, you're making a little investment there, but I also think that, you spend money to make money, right? So that's one part of it. The other part is what a fun, amazing way to get people in the doors with Plexus, because now we're kind of introducing to them the big BIG, the big ideas that Plexus tackles: blood sugar, inflammation, gut health. Like Slim and Ease really and truly are amazing because with the triplex, it's going to work and it's going to help them so much. But you're also going to get messages that say, so is it normal that I'm bloated? Is it normal that I've pooped this much? Like you're going to get all those messages, which is a really hard hump to get over, right? When people are first starting, you can do it, but it is hard. Whereas Slim and Ease, other than the keep it in the freezer so it's not too smelly, other than that, what objection are they really going to have, right? So I'm just all in with this challenge. I'm excited for you guys to get your team plugged in and help that grow your businesses. So I have a sweet friend that also is redheaded that I love so much. And one of the things I love the most about Megan Milakovic. So we have Diamond Megan Milakovic here to share with us just for about 10 minutes to get us excited. But we did this event in Nashville and she talked about dreaming. Well, anytime you hear someone talk about dreaming big, for me at least, I'm like, I know all about this topic. I don't need to know anymore about this topic. Incorrect. Incorrect. She bust out the biggest dream board I've ever seen in my life. And it was like legit. And the way she talked about what this did for her family, what it did for pushing all of the belief in the house up to the highest vibing level you can imagine, I was so overwhelmed with emotion by that. So I like the way that she can see something that I think I know everything about and bring out a brand new way of seeing it. So Megan, thanks for being on here. I'm going to mute myself and you just like be you. And then when you're done, just be done.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jen, for that introduction. Actually, it kind of goes hand in hand with a little bit about what I want to share with you guys this morning, because visualization is such a key part of, of running our businesses, of achieving your goals, of doing all of those things. And I think that it's a component that a lot of times, if you are like a worker, if you're someone who sits down and you're like, I'm just going to like bust out a million messages and I'm going to do all the things that sometimes slowing down to visualize is going to feel like a waste of time. And so it's why we don't do it. But actually, if we will pause and take time to visualize our goals and dreams, visualize how we want to feel, what the result we want after we're messaging somebody, when we're taking the time to do all of those things, it's like the slow down to speed up. Because it gets your mind, it gets your confidence, it gets your brain in the right place so that when you are doing the work, you're doing it the most efficient and effective way. This is my version of work smarter, not harder. Because if you are sitting in a place of defeat, right, and you go to sit down and send messages for the Ease Challenge, how effective do you think your messages are going to be? I mean, probably not very effective, right? Because as crazy as it sounds, people can feel the energy. They can hear it in your tone of voice. They can feel it in the way that you are sending messages to them. And if you are sitting there feeling defeated and you're telling yourself before you go to message people, nobody's going to want to do this. Everybody thinks these products are too expensive. I'm never going to find somebody to be able to do the business with me, blah, 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 blah. You're filling your mind with all of these thoughts. That's what you're visualizing. You're you're visualizing it going terribly wrong. And I can tell you, you would like to get to the top of this company and you would like to start reaching your goals faster. Start visualizing it going the way that you want it to go. And it doesn't mean that every single message is going to be a success. And it doesn't mean that you are going to hit every single goal at the time that you visualized it. But it is drastically going to increase your chances because you have spent that time visualizing. You know, it's an absolute free tool that we have, but I think that it is so underutilized when it comes to reaching our goals. And you might be asking yourself, okay, well, like, how does visualization work? Like, what actually happens in your brain when you visualize, and how does this help you accomplish your goals? Well, like I said, for some of you, visualization kind of feels like a waste of time. You're like, I don't have time for that. You're like, I just need to send my messages and do this. But even if you can take 30 seconds before you go to send messages to calm your brain, to close your eyes, and just think about reasons that you're so grateful, right? To raise your energy levels. It's the fastest way to raise your energy level. If you're sitting down and you're going to do your work and you instantly feel drained because you're already discouraged, the fastest way to pick that energy level up is to just say 3 things that you're grateful for. You're instantly going to feel better. It's going to help put a smile on your face, and then you're going to feel better before you go to send those messages. And so the visualization and the dreaming and the work, it all goes hand in hand. They're not separate. They're 2 things that work together. And so if you want your work to be more effective, you need to take that time to visualize. So Mel Robbins is someone who likes to talk about this too. And she shares that they have done brain scans that have shown that when you stimulate the same region of your brain when you visualize yourself performing an action as when you actually do the same action. So this is why top athletes use this technique as like a mental training thing to perform their best. And so you can do the same with the things that you want to achieve in your life, in your business. I will tell you, like those dream boards that Jen was talking about, I had actually spent so much time like visualizing, feeling what it would be like, emotionally connecting to that goal, that when I hit it, I had already hit it long ago before I ever actually was able to cross that thing off of my dream board. I knew how I wanted to feel. I would visualize 1,500 points in my back office until I cried. Okay. Because I was like, I wanted to know this is what it's going to feel like. This is what it's going to do for my family. And that drove me. Same thing with Diamond. I would sit there, I would visualize it. I would say, what does this mean for my family? And then it would fuel me to show up on the days where I didn't feel like showing up. Because if you can dig down, if you can make that emotional connection to what your goal is, to what your dream is, to all of that, you're going to work harder because it's going to feel like it is actually achievable. And so the reason visualization works is because when you see and you feel yourself doing the work, it starts to remove that self-doubt. It starts to remove those nerves, that anxiety, that fear that we all get that is currently stopping you from taking the steps that are going to change your life. It starts eliminating those things that are holding you back because you can actually see yourself doing it. You can see it, you can feel it. And so visualization helps to prepare your brain and your body to do the work that you're currently avoiding. How many of you, drop a 1 in the comments if you are avoiding doing certain work in your business? We all do it. We all have certain things that we avoid. And so research shows that this type of just mental rehearsing, mental preparing makes it more likely that you are going to follow through on the action itself. The action part is what will what's going to actually like move the needle forward, right? And change your life. But first, you have to visualize it. And so many times we go through and we ask people and we're like, well, what did you do to get to Diamond? Or what did you do, to reach this goal? But we're asking the wrong question. It's like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? But if you could just flip it, and Kristen Boss talks about this, if you can just flip it to ask yourself, how do I need to think? because your brain is your number one asset. So if you can switch that to, instead of what do I need to do, how do I need to think, you're naturally going to take those actions afterwards, because your thoughts are going to dictate your actions. So what you believe about yourself and what you believe to be true and what you believe to be possible will alter how you show up. So if you don't believe that your dream is possible, then you're not going to take action steps that are necessary to accomplish that goal. And so what are some ways that you can build that belief? It's through visualization. So when we were going for emeralds, I decided, I went to convention, brand new silver, had a baby with me. And when I was there, that's when I really caught the vision for what this business could be. And I sat there and I said, you know what, when I come back next year, I'm going to walk the stage as an emerald. I just declared that as my goal. I made my first little vision board, just in like Pic Collage. It had a little emeralds jewel and it said Emerald by Convention 2018. And I declared that as my goal. And when I came home, I just kept telling myself, okay, well, what would an emerald do? How would an emerald run her team? How would an emerald lead training? How would an emerald message people? How would an emerald post on Facebook? What would an emerald do? Or what would a diamond do? And I just decided that I have to operate out of that space. I have to see myself as that person. And so we have people on our team who joined me, before I was gold, and actually 3 of them are jewels on my team. When they first joined and they would get people on the phone with me, okay, I was gold, and they'd say, hey, this is my friend Megan. She's about to go emerald. Okay, we all know that gold is actually not super close to emerald. It's not like I was senior ruby. It's not like I was any of these things, but that's the way that they would introduce me, because my confidence was so high and I knew that's what I was going to be. And that's what kind of helped get me through those days, is I just saw myself as that. So you have to ask yourself, how are you viewing yourself? How are you seeing yourself? Are you just allowing those negative thoughts that come in? Are you just allowing them to take over and make those grooves deeper and deeper in your brain? Or when those negative thoughts come in, are you saying, you know what, that doesn't serve me, I'm just going to go ahead and dismiss that? And then thinking intentional thoughts, telling yourself that you can do this, visualizing, what kind of leader do I want to become? What kind of leader do I see as really successful, as a jewel, as all of these things? And then you start operating in that. I was a silver making training videos about how to be successful in Plexus. You guys, I had 3 people on my team, and I was like, this is how you're really successful in Plexus. This is how you do this. Because what I was doing is I was watching other jewels. I was watching their videos. I was seeking it out. I was going to all the trainings, and then I was replicating it, because that's what it is, you guys. And so you have to see yourself in that first. So I want to encourage you guys, start with just taking like 30 seconds before you sit down to work and just visualize something positive in your business. Visualize somebody being really receptive of the messages that you're sending. Spend that 30 seconds and just visualize what it would feel like to hit that goal for the month. Like, what would that do for you? And the more that you practice this, the more that you feel it, the more that your belief is going to grow, and you're going to be more willing to take those action steps. So that's what I got for you guys today.
Never is there a time that you don't impress me. I'm serious. I'm sitting here like, oh, and it's funny because we've never done that ever on this power hour. So I think what we should do to kind of, for April, why don't we just take that time at the beginning of the call where we do exactly what Megan's talking about? Or if I'm giving you assignments for messaging, we just stop and do that exact thing. And honestly, I'm even battling in my head going, is that really that, like, it seems so simple. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I could think of so many examples where when I did do this, the result actually ended up being what I had hoped and dreamed for, versus when I did it when my brain was over here, but my actions were over here and I didn't get what I was looking for. So stinking good, Megan. Everybody follow her. She's amazing. And I love her. And I look just like her. So thank you, Megan, for everything. I appreciate it. As she was telling that, sharing all of that, I started thinking about my son, my oldest son. He has autism and he had to take the ACT. You can't graduate high school unless you have taken the ACT. Well, I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of teenagers, you just say, hey, you have to take this test, and you drop them off at the door and they like go in and take the test. I feel like that's how it is. I could be wrong, but this is the story I've made up in my mind. Well, for John, it doesn't work like that. Like he needs to know exactly what to expect. He needs to know, what is the room going to look like? Like, what is it going to be like in the room? What's the lighting going to be like? What do I need to have with me? What am I allowed to do? So for the weeks leading up to that test, we did a lot of research. And I said, you can expect when you walk in the door, someone's going to be there to ask for your ID and you're going to show your ID. I walked him through it completely so he could picture himself going in, because mama can't go in. It's just him. And he knew every bit of what to expect and what it would look like. And we talked about, when you finish a section, you're going to be so relieved that you're done. And you're going to think, okay, I only have 2 more tests to go. So we visualized, which I didn't even think of that, but we visualized him accomplishing this goal. And then we visualized that he would get at least the minimum score for him to be able to get into college. And he did. So the point is, visualization is so powerful. And I don't even think I realized that's what I was doing. And I do it for my child. I help him visualize the end result he's looking for. So why am I not doing that when I send a message? So I've got this girl that I feel like she never responds to me. And I'm be honest, whenever I go to message her, I literally am visualizing, well, here goes another message into the dark, into the void of death. Like she's never going to respond to me. And she's probably laughing at me every time I message. Well, what kind of visualization is that? Because guess what the result is? She never responds to me. So I'm going to put this into practice. We'll add this into some of what we do here on the Power Hour. I think that's so good. Does anybody want to comment or share an example or experience that they've had with visualization that they feel like applies in this situation? Awkward silence.
Jen, I totally can. Everybody's heard my sapphire blue story. And sorry, I'm like multitasking while I'm power houring, but I wanted to see myself as a sapphire at convention on stage. So I bought the dress like 5 months earlier and hung it up. And every single day looked at that sapphire dress. But for Emerald, it was a note card. And every single day, like I wrote 1,500 and 5 points per day. This many days equals 1,500. Every time I sat down at my desk, it was literally taped at eye level, 1,500 points. And I just kept imagining that's what my back office is going to look like, you know, when it happens. And I still, to this day, 10 years ago, will never forget. I woke up, it said 1506. And I was like, oh my gosh, there it is. So just putting it out there for sure. But I've learned, even saying it out loud, maybe a lot of you right now are like, I can't even set a goal and visualize it, because then your self-limiting beliefs already start sidelining you. So that needs to be some of the, what is your goal, and just imagining, allowing yourself to think, this is what I want the goal to be and why, and start there.
Yeah, your blue dress story has always been like the biggest inspiration for me when it comes to visualization. And so when the contest started, and I've never done this before, I went and bought a gala dress because I said to myself, well, that's something that I'm going to earn and I'm going to be there. And this is the dress that I'm going to wear. And then I got the dress and I couldn't zip up the side of it. So then I said, well, I'm going to be fitting into this dress. So here are the things that I'm going to start doing to get into this dress, and picturing myself wearing it. I pictured the pictures I would be in. I pictured that I'd be in the center between 2 people so that my arms look really skinny compared to when you're on the edge and it's like 17 arms, like side by side. You know what I'm talking about? Like I did the visualization. So I would definitely take this all to heart, you guys, that this could actually be a really important tool for you, even with sending out messages. Whenever you post on Facebook, I'm going to post this. And when I do, some of my friends are going to ask me questions about it, and I'm going to get a lot of attention because people are going to relate to this. Like if you start saying those things to yourself, imagine if you were a teacher and you're getting ready to go into your classroom and you're thinking, I'm going to go in there and these little hooligans are going to talk over me. They're not going to listen. They're going to hate the lesson. They're going to roll their eyes. 2 kids are going to fall asleep on their desk. Can you imagine your energy when you go in to teach this lesson? You're like, in 1842, there was a covered wagon. And you see what I'm doing? Like, you're just like, why even give my energy to this? Because I already know they're going to hate it. Versus I'm going to go in there and one of these kids is going to find out that they have a love and a passion for history. And because of what I share with them today, they're going to go on to continue to explore and discover, and they're going to become the next governor of Texas or whatever. Like, can you imagine the energy change and the shift? Because you would think, wow, what I'm about to do is going to make a big difference, even if it's just for one. So that's a great way to think of visualization. So a couple things that I wrote down. Number one, we're going to keep doing the promoting and inviting and preparing for the Spring into Slim and Ease challenge. Number two, getting brand new people to share. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips for that, and we'll work on that as well. And then number three, I want you to ask yourself, even if you've been with Plexus for 8 years, have you gone public? And I'm going to explain what that means. So let's talk about getting people sharing. So what we did last time when we were on the call, Stacy had kind of shared a little bit about what she's been doing. And I suggested to you that you have a picture of you with a product, very dressed down, like not this like crazy lipstick, bougie, perfect lighting picture, but more like this is me in everyday life drinking my Plexus. And you have that picture ready. You're going to go to your new person or someone that you've never asked to do this. Even if they've been using the products for 5 months, it's never too late. And you're going to send that picture and say, hey, I just had my pink drink, or I just had my active, and I got to thinking I'm going to do a really super fun giveaway. For anyone that sends me a picture of them drinking their product today or tomorrow, if you feel like it's too late in the day now, you could just literally have a guaranteed payout. You could say, I'm going to send an amazing goodie bag with things that you've never tried before, or I'm going to enter you into a drawing to win a free bag of Hydrate. So you're basically getting them to do something that maybe for you guys, it is still a little scary, but you've gotten more used to the idea of taking pictures of yourself. Cause I don't know about you, but I still like, sometimes I'm just like, I feel like I'm a 15-year-old. I'm like, taking pictures. It's weird, right? There's still like this weirdness to it. But for people that have never done it, I mean, this is really out of their comfort zone. So just the very idea of getting them to take a picture and send it to you is a huge moment, huge. Now they've sent you this picture that they've taken because they want to be entered into it. Now you're going to charm them. So charm them. You look at you, you're a natural, or this is amazing. Thank you so much. Or why, tell me why you're loving the active, or today's day one. I hope you have a great first day. Keep in touch with me. This is your chance to really charm them. And then say, I was just thinking, I'm going to send you a post that I give to everybody, and you can use that exact picture. If you put it up on Facebook today, you might get 2 or 3 friends that want to try the products with you, which would make your products basically free. Are you up for that? So that's a really good way to get people, not all at one time, but little steps moving towards sharing. So that's something I would encourage you guys to do. And then the question of, have you gone public? Jonathan, are you bringing me a charging cord? I needed it for my phone. Here you go. My husband's coming to save the day because my phone's almost dead. So question is, have you gone public? The question means, does everybody know? Is there any doubt in anyone's mind? Or is it just the people that are kind of like in your inner circle? Does everyone know that you are 100% in this, like no dip in the toe in, like you're in? And a really perfect example is when Alita joined Plexus. Her husband Floyd was extra. I'm not going to lie. He was extra. Like this was the kind of guy that was always doing something like, you're like, okay, wait, what did you just say to me? You just bought a bunch of fish from Costa Rica and you're starting a fish farm in your backyard. Okay, that sounds great. Like this is the kind of stuff he did. Okay. But as soon as she joined Plexus, and he had seen what had happened for our family, and I also feel like it was the spirit in him saying, this is really important for her future, because he didn't know, he not realizing that later on, it really would become that important for her future. That man took her Suburban and he got that thing completely covered in Plexus decals. I would have been embarrassed to drive this car. Okay. Like every window had Plexus Worldwide, her name, her phone number, huge, like the biggest thing you've ever seen. And you know what was so special about that for her? Even though she cried because she was so upset and embarrassed, it actually did something for her confidence and for her bravery, because now she has to drive around. No one's going to rip off a decal that cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars to put on their window. And so she'd gone public. So I understand business cards aren't exactly the thing of today, but are you public? Does it say that somewhere, like on your Facebook? Is it obvious to people? Do you have ways that you've branded yourself along with the business? Have you invested money into your business? Are you actually really seeing this as a business, or is this like a hope and a wish and a prayer, but without like some things set in place? I'm just encouraging you guys to do what it might take for you to go public. And one of the things that really helped me is I made these cards. I think I still have them. I'll look for them. I made these cards that I was going to send every new person. I got a girl to go and take my picture. Like I literally hired my neighbor who like has a hobby of photography. I had her meet me in the square downtown and she took all my pictures. I went on Canva and I ordered all these cards. There's nothing to it. It's just my picture. And on the back, I went and I started writing little notes to my future team members, whoever it was going to be, and signing it. I love being your leader. And I was literally visualizing, but making it like I spent money. I took these pictures, like we're doing this, like this is happening. So that's what I'm going to encourage you guys to do, is focus on going public. I gave you 3 tasks at once, and we're just going to spend the rest of the power hour on that. Invite to Slim and Ease Challenge, promote it, work on graphics, talk about it in the power hour chat. Make sure you have your 2 bottles of ease. Get your new people or existing that you haven't asked to start sharing by getting that picture. And number 3, ask yourself, have you gone public? List out the ways that you have, list out ways that you should be, that you can grow in, and then start to encourage your team to go public as well. All righty. I'm muting. Here we go. Okay. Would I be able, I'm thinking Stacy would agree to this, so I'm just volunteering her, but I need like 2 more people. If I made you admins in the Power Hour chat, I need help taking people out that didn't say yes. Like that's just so much. I don't want to do that by myself. So Stacy, would you be able to do that? It doesn't have to happen right this second, but sometime in the next like 24 hours. Would anyone else be willing to volunteer and just put it in the chat? Like, I like kicking people out. Okay, Tia. So Tia and Stacy. Anyone else? I'll make you admins in that. Okay, Pat. I'll do it right now. Thank you. Okay. We have solved the world's problems. I've created more, but whatever you want to do, first name, last name, either way, I get the least amount because it's whatever. Basically, I took UV and whatever, the least used letters in the alphabet. I will see you guys on Wednesday, or no, today is Wednesday, on Monday. And we are going to have, who did I get? Oh, Latoya Lackey. Latoya Lackey just went Emerald, but her story, because she joined Plexus 6 or 7 years ago and just stayed, boom, same place, and then took off and now has the 2 top promoters in the whole company for the whole year for 2021 on her team. Think about that. I don't know. That gets me super excited because it makes me think, what could happen next year for me? What could happen next year for you just never know. So she'll be on Monday, and I will upload this recording. I've been trying to get better about that, and I will put that on YouTube, and then we'll see each other Monday. Hope you guys have a good day.